Alright, the last time I looked at my boy Shikro's videos, it was for the 2015 Dokkan history video, which he did phenomenal, by the way, just as well as Ploop. But we got the 2016 version up here. As you know, this was the time when I actually got more active into playing Dokkan, and I was, how, 2016, this was, oh my god, I'm old. Bro, this dude making his videos, he making me feel older, bro. I've been playing since 2015. Damn, this is so messed up on all levels, bro. Yeah, how I was like, I was like 15 before I turned 16 in 2016. But damn, what a good time. Anyways, let's take a look at what we have here. The history of 2016 Dokkan. It's gonna be interesting here.
What if Goji asked, swear to God?
I did not do that correctly.
Oh, black guy.
Rhyme style.
Oh,
Oh my god.
I ripped my shirt up.
Oh, I got ultimate gohan.
Oh my god.
Nice. Where's Gogeta? oh shit!
Afro Senju.
Come on, triple.
Yo, D free. And he played during the January time of JP Dokkan's anniversary. Oh, we got Nichigo and Nano.
Yes! Dude, are you serious? Oh my god.
Please, all I need is Gogeta, man.
Dude, I want you to pull him just as bad.
Dude, I got him! I got him! I got him! I got him! I got him!
Yes! Oh my god, dude! Holy shit!
Wow.
Oh my god, baby,
What a time, man.
oh my gosh! Oh my gosh, dude!
Wow.
Everything about STR Gogeta was broken beyond belief. First off, he introduced the immense damage super attack multiplier, which was a level beyond supreme damage, making him a step above every other unit in the game right off the bat.
Yeah. You see, how the way I would word it is, in 2016, if you did not pull SCR Gogeta, you are absolutely cooked. Not really though, but you are absolutely cooked. Oh man, what a time. What a time to be alive.
Secondly, Gogeta introduced a new type of ability into the game, super effective against all types.
Oh yeah,
This
that
meant
too.
STR Gogeta would hit every unit as if they were a physical unit. Fighting an AGL enemy, Gogeta bypasses the type
Yup.
disadvantage and hits them for super effective damage.
Yup.
Fighting a type neutral enemy such as Tech, Int, or STR doesn't matter.
Yep.
They're getting hit as if they were physical.
Yep.
This ridiculously OP offensive mechanic, coupled with his tremendously high stats and additional 7,000 attack from his passive.
Oh
made Gogeta
baby,
unbeatable.
defense didn't matter technically back then.
Third, he had a fantastic link set, boasting key links such as Over in a Flash, Prepared for Battle, and Fused Fighter, allowing him to seamlessly link with the best units at the time. And last but most importantly, STR Gogeta had by far the greatest leader skill in the history of the game.
Yep.
All types key 3, attack up by 3,000.
3 key 3000, that's insane. Nuking single type leads don't mean shit.
Every unit in the game and every future unit that would be released could be run on Gogeta's team. Not many people remember now, but the difference between a full Dokkan Fest team under a double Gogeta lead and a double Gogeta lead consisting of a team of 6 Cybermen was unbelievably small. Because a double Gogeta lead would give your units a flat 6,000 attack increase instead of a percentage-based boost, physical Cybermen with their pitiful attack stats could deal actual damage to the enemies. STR Gogeta instantly became the only unit in the game that mattered.
Yep.
He invalidated team building and dominated every Dokkan
Yep.
event in the game with very little difficulty. You either had him or your account was several hundred steps behind. Even
See? I told you. You didn't have him, you're fucked. But this guy wasn't the only one who became the 3 key 3000 lead. You'll see that later on. I'm not sure if he talks about. I'm pretty sure he does.
Day 1 players were re-rolling their accounts just to pull STR Gogeta. There will likely never be another unit in Dokkan ever that will surpass STR Gogeta's strength on release.
That also existed too. I think this also was the reason why my friends list became flooded with SR freezes and all that shit. I understand that pulling Gogeta is a must. This dude was insane in 2016. But you gotta keep in mind of changing your damn friends list, guys. Also, back in 2016, I believe if you're what's called your main leader on your home screen. Oh, I didn't word it correctly. I believe your friend was considered your main leader on your home screen. If I remember, that's how it works. They didn't change it the way that we have it now, where you're able to select a character to be your friend lead. I believe it was home screen related. So if you had Goji on your friend screen, on your home screen, sorry, he was basically your friend lead for everyone else to use. So if you were re-rolling back in the day and you didn't change your friend lead, I would have not used you. I'm sorry.
For the first anniversary, Dokkan actually released 2 Dokkan Fest simultaneously, marking the game's very first dual Dokkan Fest. Int Janimbo was the other Dokkan Fest, and he was also quite powerful, though nowhere near Gogeta's level.
Yeah.
To be fair to Janimbo, no other unit in the game was, so when compared to the previous top tier units in the game, Janimbo was more than good enough. He possessed the defensive version of Gogeta's ability, Guard All Attacks, which allowed him to take
that's
all
right.
hits in the game as if they were from a physical enemy. He was an amazing tank, with a great link set that included shocking speed, making him a great run on Gogeta's team and in teams.
Yeah, that's right.
Unlike Tech Pycon and AGL Ultimate Gohan, who were mediocre banner units on Gogeta's banner, Janimba's banner featured the supremely powerful physical Super Saiyan Goten.
Yeah.
He was a perfect linking partner for STR Gogeta.
That makes sense, because having Go Tanks on Janimba's banner was basically a saying, oh, you should pull on both banners, not because it's Dokkan Fest Janimba and Gogeta, but also the banner units too. So if you put on Janimba's banner, you can also pull Go Tanks, who link so well with Gogeta. Hurrah! He also had a pretty decent leader skill. I believe it was 2 key as his leader skill. So it's not bad, actually.
And was the best super attack sealer in the game. To wrap up the first anniversary, we have to address one of the biggest misconceptions in all of Dokkan. During the first anniversary of the global version of Dokkan, SSR rates across the board were lowered around the end of July from 7% to 5%. People have misremembered exactly when this decrease in the SSR rate happened, and have falsely spread the notion that Dokkan lowered the SSR rates for the first anniversary, so people would have a harder time to pull Gogeta. The truth is that SSR rates weren't lowered until 2.5 weeks after Gogeta's release, during the release of the shitty Limit Break banner on Global, and they were lowered across all existing banners. So while Global did experience reduced SSR rates during the tail end of the first anniversary, it was almost 3 weeks after Gogeta's release. So while we don't exactly know why they decided to lower the rates, it wasn't done to make it harder for global players to acquire Gogeta. Still a massive dick move by Dokkan though.
So that's what happened? Oh my god. Dude, no wonder. No wonder. And just to keep things in mind, right? When these banners did drop, I did pull on Gogeta's banner first on both JP and Global. At the time, I didn't know Gogeta was insane. I just knew it was like, oh my god, it's Gogeta. I should pull for him. I didn't have the stones to pull for the dude. So I didn't get him until later on, I think July 2016. Well, for Global, though, when he dropped immediately, I went full in on Gogeta, and I got him 4 multis in. That's how crazy it was. I was able to use them outright. I did not care about any other releases until later on, but you guys get the point. I believe I didn't pull on Janemba's banner at that time. I did pull him later, but I didn't pull him at that time. But dude, those were the 4 easiest multi summons. I was free. Keep in mind, I was free to play. I didn't have a job. Yeah, I know. I didn't have a job. I was unemployed as a 16, like a 15 and a half, 16-year-old high school student. I was doing summer homework and all that shit. What a time. What a fucking time, man.
Still a massive dick move by Dokkan though. At the end of February, they also began Dokkan awakening the strike units into SSRs, starting
We don't talk about this shit. Dude, this was at the time the most struggling events in Dokkan. You're probably wondering, well, Dean, these are free-to-play units, right? Yeah, they are. They're actually good free-to-play units back when they released. However, you needed the ones that were coming out during that time. Because there was another unit that you needed that you would want to farm up for to actually, what you call it? Well, here's the thing. There's multiple variants of these Super Strike units, and you'll see more of them later on down the line. The way they did them was so stupid. I feel like they should have not done. They should have not just put it right there, but you'll see more. What I'm talking about.
who was quite bad. Moving on from the first anniversary, at the beginning of March, we got Dokkan Fest Physical Full Power.
Oh yeah, I remember this guy.
He was the second unit to have an immense damage super, and he was the hardest hitting unit in the game.
And he was the most annoying boss in the game.
He gained an astonishing 120% attack on super, and linked surprisingly well with Gogeta, as he had over in a flash and fierce battle. The
Yeah,
latter being
that's
a
pretty
feat
good.
That almost all units who Dokkan awakened from a Dokkan event possessed. On Global, Frieza was the first unit with immense damage, as he came out prior to the first anniversary.
Yeah, that's right.
To his Dokkan event being nigh impossible for many global players, as this event was created with STR Gogeta in mind. who
Yeah.
wasn't yet on the global version. Frieza had a countdown super that one-shot pretty much every unit in the game.
Yeah.
Due to this mechanic, the Namek Super Saiyan Goku that was released alongside Frieza had the ability to survive KO attacks when HP was 30% or above in order to counter Frieza's one-shot super. At the
Yep.
end of March, we also got a GT banner featuring GT Super Saiyan 2 Goku and Metal Rildo, who were both solid, but nothing noteworthy. Moving
Yeah.
ahead to the beginning of April, we got
Oh,
the last
wow,
Dokkan
I remember this
1000
banner.
speed, Dokkan Fest
Wait, they
Ultimate
re-released
Gohan.
Frieza?
He was one of the best damage dealers in the game.
How did I forget that they
He
re-released
stacked
Frieza?
on
Oh my
super,
god.
similar to AGL Kaioken Goku.
He stacks though.
He also had shocking speed and was able to get super attacks off at 7 key, making him a very comfortable run on any team you ran him on.
True.
Physical and AGL Ultimate Gohan also received Dokkan Awakenings, with Physical Gohan being a poor man's Gogeta with his all types 3 key leader skill.
Yeah, that's
AGL
good.
Ultimate Gohan was slightly less impressive than his physical counterpart, but he did decent damage and had a 20% chance to stun the enemy on Super. Ultimate Gohan's Dokkan event had a similar skill to Dokkan event Broly's Rampage, and his event required units with the wall standing tall link to bypass his damage reduction, which consisted of Majin Buu units. However, if you had STR Gogeta, you could just blow Gohan's back out without even running into units. Interestingly, Ultimate Gohan's Dokkan event was bugged on release for Global, as his damage reduction skill didn't activate, making his event a cakewalk on Global compared to other Dokkan events.
Oh.
Alongside
Yeah,
Ultimate
that's well. There's still more
Gohan,
global
April
bug
1st,
shenanigans.
Dokkan released 2 units that rivaled the power of STR Gogeta.
Who? 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 Who, bro? Tell me exactly who.
AGL Yamcha and Tech Yamcha were busted beyond belief.
Oh yeah, they were
These two
definitely busted.
free-to-play units Dokkan awakened from their very own Dokkan event.
Yeah.
AGL and Tech Yamcha did huge damage on Super, which was several levels lower than Supreme and Immense.
Wow.
Incredible moves such as Speedy Retribution,
Oh my
which
god.
they only shared with other Yamcha
That's
units.
insane.
Their passive
Oh,
skills
I
lowered
should
their
farm
defense and
them.
attack respectively at the
Right.
start of turn. Tech Yamcha was capable of tanking the weakest bosses in the game, which was very impressive. And AGL Yamcha outdamaged every single unit in the game that didn't attack. Truly, 2 of the units of all time. In the middle of April, Tech
Let me just like skips past by it. For those that actually don't know, these two were actually free to play units back when they released. I believe, were guaranteed a copy of each if you did complete the stages. The medals, they were easy to get as well. I think you only needed 1 medal for each of them. At that time, I believe the potential system didn't exist. So most players only got them up to believe, I think just SA10 and then dipped out. But by the time the potential system released, you probably needed 4 more extra copies of this guy. So really you needed 14 copies of this unit. If the potential system came out, but that it did not at that time. But they were a pretty nice collectible to have, right? I've done showcases on both of them already in the past. Very, very, very fun. Very easy and fun units.
In the middle of April, Tecmajin Vegeta received a Dokkan Awakening from the Hero Extermination event.
I still hate that fucking event, by the way.
Double race banner, excluding this limited time Christmas one. It was
Oh,
also the second attack all unit in the game after Broly.
well, that basically made him a substitute for Broly.
Flash, as well as a Saiyan Link set. This made him a perfect option on Gogeta's team.
Yep.
And arguably a better option for World Tournament than Broly.
Yep.
As it was pretty easy for Majin Vegeta to get a super attack off on Gogeta's team. STR Super Saiyan 2 Trunks and Great Saiyan Man Super Saiyan 2 also released on a separate banner a few days later, with Great Saiyan Man being mid, and Trunks being an incredible support unit for STR
Yep.
Gogeta. The
Yep.
first ever Golden Week celebration dropped on April 20th, which featured a rerun of STR Gogeta and several other Dokkan Fests. For those who don't know, Golden Week refers to a period of several national holidays in Japan that fall from late April into early May, and Dokkan typically releases a major banner every year during this time. Needless to say,
Yep.
the return of the god of the game was more than enough to carry the hype of the first ever Golden Week celebration. A week later, we got the introduction of the Giant Ape mechanic in Dokkan.
Oh yeah, I
in the
remember
form of
this.
3 new summonable SSRs, Great Ape Vegeta, Raditz, and Kid Goku. These characters had a chance to turn into a Great Ape once per battle, wherein they would become the only attacking character on the battlefield. While in this state, you didn't take any damage, but you can't use items or the abilities of the base card. This might sound broken on paper, but the Giant Ape mechanic was quite underwhelming on release, as it was far too RNG dependent on one character.
He's right. Yeah, he's right. These characters had a chance to transform into a giant ape, but that was it. Most... Can you really use them? Yeah. If you're going up against like a Dokkan Fest boss back then, where they did nuke you under a certain countdown, this can definitely help. This can definitely help, but to what extent? Because these transformations back then only lasted simply like up to 3 turns max, sometimes 2. Very minimally nowadays. You only see at least 1 turn giant transformations, like Super Saiyan 3, like transforming Super Saiyan 3 Carnival Goku, the GT1. His active skill lets him transform into a giant for 1 turn, and then you go straight into Super Saiyan 4. These guys transformed for like 2 to 3 turns.
Would transform. The base characters themselves too were quite mediocre, so we'll just move right past them.
Yeah.
On May 1st, we got a new Dokkan Fest STR Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta.
He wasn't that hype if I remember correctly. At that time, best tank in the game, I believe. But wasn't that great. But his link set was pretty good.
Making him one of the best cards in the meta, despite the meta mainly revolving
Oh, wait.
around offense. Tech Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta also
Yeah, now I remember.
He had a all types 3 key leader skill, making him a great leader for people who didn't have Gogeta. At the end of the month, we got another GT banner, almost as if these GT banners were building up to something.
Oh yeah, definitely.
STR Super Saiyan 3 GT Goku and Int Super Baby 2. Baby was the Int type nuking lead and had a solid passive that raised attack by 70%. Super Saiyan 3 GT Goku was the STR nuking lead and was a really good support unit, giving all allies 25% attack.
His support was really good.
STR was already far and away the strongest type in the game, and Dokkan for whatever reason decided to release more STR over enough flash units to solidify Gogeta's dominance.
Yep.
The final Dokkan Fest banner of this meta released on May 31st, featuring Dokkan Fest Tech Beerus.
Oh yeah, I remember this.
STR Gogeta.
Oh yeah. Bro, JP got Gogeta 3 times. 3 times.
This card was insane. He could become invincible for a few turns while also dealing out free damage to the enemy. Beerus's banner came with a new Super Saiyan God Goku, who gained 70% attack and defense when HP was 50% or higher. His strangely low defense stat, however, made the defensive increase from his passive pretty much worthless. However, the main draw of this God Goku was his typing. He was the first int unit with Over in a Flash, allowing players to finally build a complete Over in a Flash rainbow team. STR Beerus also Dokkan awakened, and had the potential to dish out more damage than any other unit in the game.
Yeah,
with his
there's a high
to get
chance. It's like a
staggering
50%.
200% attack from his passive. Moving on to the final two banners of this meta, we got the second ever double
Oh
race
yeah,
banner
I
and the
love
Dokkan
I
Awakened
love that
official
Trunks.
Xeno Trunks. Xeno Trunks received one of the biggest glow-ups ever and became a legendary card among the Dokkan community.
I love this guy. He's an
He
AoE
became the
unit.
attack all unit in the game and gained 4 ki when HP was below 80%. This, coupled with the fact that he now had prepared for battle in his Link set, made him a fan favorite in World Tournament teams. The final banner released
That's
on
true.
June 20th, featuring 5 new Grey Ape units.
Oh my
Barbara and
god.
his crew. All 5 units had a 10% chance to turn into a Great Ape.
Not these guys. At least Tora was the best one.
To transform. However, just like the previous batch, these Great Ape units were also underwhelming in base. To wrap up this era of Dokkan, they released a countdown to Dragon Ball's 30th anniversary campaign. 5 days into the countdown,
Oh
Dokkan
my
teased the upcoming release
god.
of the first ever LR unit in the game as a free-to-play card.
Oh, we don't talk
And
about this
on the
guy.
final day of the countdown,
Oh
Dokkan
my
hinted at a
god.
massive Dokkan festival on the horizon. Many players were understandably excited at the release of the first ever LR and a new major Dokkan Fest. However, players had no idea that this upcoming release, just like Broly almost a year ago, would completely change the landscape of Dokkan, perhaps far more than before.
Dude. Oh, y'all have no idea what it was like to have this motherfucker on your team.
5 months after the release of
When this guy came out in 2016, I remember seeing him. I was like, stop right there. Counters, guard, damage resurrection. This guy had it all. This guy was a one-man team. Just like Gogeta, this guy cleans right through a lot of content. His counters, that. His attack stat and damage, like that. He was a one-man army, bro. Screw everything else inside your team. This guy was just that. Along, he did also release along with the physical Dokkan Fest Broly, but I'd say he was okay. But Vegito, after 6 months, 7 months past the first anniversary, and they released him with this, I was like, what the hell are we starting with? Because this was the start of these 70% metas.
Super Gogeta, we finally got Super Vegito introduced into Dokkan. He introduced the biggest leader skill jump we had ever seen in the game, giving AGL types 3 ki and 70% to HP, attack, and defense. Before this, the best leader skills in the game gave either ki and a flat attack boost, or a percentage-based boost to a single stat. AGL Super Vegito buffed all stats by a massive 70%, and gave AGL types 3 ki on top of that. This completely killed Rainbow teams, and earned units with this type of leader skill the title of God Lead.
Yep.
Not only did Super Vegito have by far the best leader skill in the game, he was also the first superclass Dokkan Fest to have 7 links instead of 6. He hosted 2 of the 3 best key links in the game, and also had an incredible Saiyan link set to boot. Furthermore, he also raised all allies' attack by 30% for 1 turn, including himself in his super attack effect, making him hit slightly harder than just immense damage. And last but certainly not least, let's talk about Vegito's passive. He reduced damage received from normal attacks by 80%. making him completely invincible from normal attacks.
Oh, that's a guard.
Although he could still take sizable damage from enemy supers, the massive
guard
HP
only
defense increase
guard
from his leader
occurred
skill,
during the
on
Super
top of the
UCA, I
fact that you
think.
could just run units that seal enemy super attacks alongside Vegito, resulted in super attacks not being detrimental to him at all. He also introduced a new type of ability into the game.
Counter.
Counters. Every
Counter.
time Vegito was hit by a normal attack, he countered by hitting the enemy with a special attack. Upon reading Vegito's initial details, many people believed he was underwhelming and inferior to Super Gogeta, thinking he was simply a tank with no offensive power. But that was before people witnessed firsthand just how broken this new ability was.
And Vegito's gonna just block, and he's gonna take out the Goku. Bye, Gokusa! 196k on the counter. Jeez, but this Vegito is so OP, man. That counter is just... That is the icing on the cake. That's what makes him probably the best card in this game.
Most of Super Vegito's damage came from his counter attacks, each which did slightly less damage than his super attack. With just 3 counters in a turn, he was capable of out-damaging every unit in the game, and he was still in the discussion as the hardest hitting unit in the game months later due to this ludicrous potential counter damage. Vegito was so powerful that it was optimal to run rare units such as Ninja Murasaki and Ocean and Shenron, as they were the only AGL ceiling units at the time. He was easily the best unit in the game and completely warped the meta, almost on the same level as STR Gogeta on release. Vegito's banner is also among the best banners in the history of the game.
You brought fucking Gogeta, but you also released Brawly.
His banner also introduced the physical type God Lead, Physical Broly. Broly was the first character to receive a second Dokkan Fest exclusive card, and he was very powerful, though not on the same level as Vegito. He was the first unit in the game that had the ability to launch an additional super attack, so even though he did supreme damage instead of immense, his ability to double super on top of the flat 7000 attack buff he got from his passive made him one of the hardest hitting units in the game. Unfortunately, his pitiful defensive stat made him a bit of a glass cannon. Wasn't as powerful as Mono AGL, due to the lack of any real physical tanks, but it was capable of dishing out quite a lot of damage. Both Vegito and Broly needed 77 medals to Dokkan Awaken.
Oh yeah, that too.
Dokkan events now drop 7 medals per clear instead of the usual 1 medal.
Oh hell.
50 stamina to take on their super difficult stage. Additionally, their Dokkan events were some of the most difficult stages to date. You needed units with the fierce battle link to bypass Vegito's monstrous damage reduction, and considering TURs were still quite rare for many players, it was borderline impossible for most people to complete Vegito's Dokkan event. Tech Vegito and Int Vegito also Dokkan Awakened from Super Vegito's Dokkan event, and they were slightly better now, with Int Vegito gaining more attack per key sphere obtained, and Tech Vegito now raising all allies' attack and defense by 30%. Broly's Dokkan event was equally challenging, possessing the previous Dokkan Fest Broly's Rampage ability. Some players were able to brute force their way through Broly's ridiculously high defense with units that had the Blazing Battle link, but most players were helpless before Broly's onslaught. However, people soon discovered that there was a summonable SR unit with the ability to single-handedly decimate physical Broly.
Who?
SR Master of Magic Gold.
Oh my god, are you kidding me?
Reduced the enemy's defense to 0 for 3 turns when he was hit, which allowed players to obliterate Broly with their regular teams. This made Broly's Dokkan event a breeze, and SR Goldo was revered by the Dokkan community. 2 days prior to the release of Vegito and Broly, they actually released the first ever LR card into the game.
Oh my god.
LR Super Saiyan Goku. This free LR could be farmed from the Transcendent Warrior.
Here's a couple things about this Goku, right? When this Goku released, during, I think, what you call it? During JP's timeline, right? You needed Super Strike units. Yeah, you heard that right. Super Strike units. You not replay units. Super Strikes. And Super Strike units were commonly they were commonly very well known free to play units in the game, so that's the reason why they put them in there. But at the same time, they asked for very specific ones. So Not the greatest. Not the greatest thing. And on top of that, he had basically Gogeta's Leader skill. If they released him right when let's call it, let's say if they did release him during the first anniversary, right? It would have gave players the incentive of actually having this guy and Gogeta. So just in case they didn't pull for Gogeta, they had this guy because his leader skill is basically the same. But thankfully, they technically didn't have to do that because this now exists during Tanabata 2016. But he was still pretty damn good. For an LR, having two different super attacks, insane.
Prime Battle event, and you needed 777 medals to Dokkan Awaken.
Oh, that too. Keep in mind, I think the minimum drop for the medals on his stage were like 2 of some max of 25. And 25 is more rare. You'll commonly get 7. So I'd say you'll probably end up having to do over 100 runs max just to get enough medals to Dokkan Awaken this guy. And to keep that to keep the momentum up right there, you need a lot of stamina. Because I think his event was like 2550 stamina per run to get all 777, so you're gonna be wasting a lot of that stamina for sure.
Goku into a LR. His event dropped either 5, 7, 10, 15, or 20 medals.
Oh, 20.
7 being by far the most common. This meant that you had to clear this 50 stamina event over 100 times just to acquire all 777 medals. Emphasis on clear. Most players had trouble beating this event once, let alone 100 times. You see, this event could only be attempted by Super Strike units, who for the most part were not great. Coupled with the fact that the enemy Goku hit incredibly hard and could one-shot most of your units, resulted in many players not getting LR Goku for many months, with most people outright choosing not to even grind the medals for Goku. However, despite this free LR Goku being a ass to obtain, he was actually insanely good. He was capable of reaching level 150 and had the highest stats in the game as a result. LR units also had a 24 key meter and launched a colossal super at 12 key and an ultra super attack at 18 key that did mega colossal damage. Both of these new super attack multipliers were stronger than immense damage, and LR Goku also gained a massive 10,000 attack from his passive, making him the hardest hitting unit in the game over Super Gogeta and Super Vegito with less than 3 counters. The final thing to note from this celebration is the 30th Dragon Ball Anime Anniversary Super Warrior Saga event. A new stage was added every day to this event, so players could experience famous scenes from the Dragon Ball anime, from original Dragon Ball to the currently airing Goku Black arc. Alongside this event, they released 4 trophy cards, each representing iconic shots from the openings of Dragon Ball,
I remember all
Dragon
these.
Ball Z, Dragon Ball GT,
And Dragon Ball Super.
respectively. At the end of the month, they released a Universe 6 vs Universe 7 banner, which featured a new Super Saiyan Blue Goku, Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta, Piccolo, and Hit. Unfortunately, the first ever Hit card was quite underwhelming,
Yeah.
having some decent stunning capabilities.
Well,
2 was awful, but Super Saiyan Blue Goku and Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta
they were nukers.
nukers that gained 15% attack per physical and tech key spheres obtained respectively. They linked perfectly with their nuking leader counterparts and became the best nukers in the game, though nuking started to diminish drastically in popularity with the start of the God Lead meta.
Yep.
The Grim Reaper of Justice Gotenks was released at the beginning of August as a Tech-type Goku. Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks was a unique card with 3 different super attacks depending on the amount of ki he had. At 9 to 10 ki, he had an immense damage super attack. At 11 ki, he massively raised attack and did immense damage. And at 12 ki, he did extreme damage and greatly lowered defense. This meant that to maximize Gotenks' damage, you wanted to aim for 11 ki and avoid getting 12 ki at all costs.
Yep.
This was quite annoying, as Gotenks had over and a flash, so in the middle slot
Oh yeah, that's right. He's a fusion, right?
units, Gotenks would automatically sit at 12 ki.
He has to limit breaking Link skill as well.
11 key super attack with Gotenks, he would become one of the hardest hitting units in the game. as he also gained 120% attack on Super, similar to full power Frieza.
Yeah.
The STR Super Saiyan Gotenks released alongside Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks was also pretty decent and could put out solid damage consistently. Gotenks' Dokkan event was quite annoying, as he was incredibly tanky, and his weakness was Super Buu and Piccolo units,
Yeah,
both of which
that's
had
right.
0 good units at the time. Quite shockingly, the next Dokkan Fest released only 9 days after Gotenks, and people realized exactly which unit we were about to get. from
Yep.
the Dokkan
Kaioken
event
Blue
teaser.
Goku. Yeah.
AGL Super
Funny enough with this banner. Okay, I know he's got to talk about it, but funny enough, Global got shafted. Not really. Well, technically yes, for 2 reasons. One, they replaced Vegeta with Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta. On top of that, right? They just popped Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta's PNG on top of Vegeta's. You could literally see Vegito's asset under fucking Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta. The amount of laziness on that edit is just beyond my understanding. I don't know why. Also, it was also the introduction of the 120% leader skills flat. No key, just 120% across the board. Personally, I prefer key with stats than just flat out stats, and I understand why they did it that way because they want you to complement Falcon Blue Goku with Vegito. But just to understand where Global was at, right? Back then, Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta's PNG asset was on top of fucking Vegito's asset. It was so hilarious. It was a meme until his banner died. It's still talked about very little here and there, but still.
Saiyan Blue Kaioken Goku introduced a new type of leader skill into the game. HP, attack, and defense plus
Oh,
100%
not
to a certain
120,
level.
100%.
This with this type of
I know he
leader
had
skill
flat.
were
I know he
referred
had
to
just
as
had
demigod
stats.
leads, as they gave 30% more to all stats than god leads in exchange
Yeah.
for no increase to key. This type of leader skill was inferior to the god leads, though it was quite popular to mix and match god lead and demigod leads in
Yeah,
exchange for
yeah.
slightly higher stats.
Yeah.
Blue Goku himself was a beast of a unit. He had the best link set in the game, possessing shocking speed, prepared for battle, and over in a flash. He also hit like a truck, gaining an astonishing 20,000 attack and 10,000 defense for the first 10
Yeah, but the
turns
only
of
thing
battle.
that really
This
sucked was
also
that him
counted turns
losing
where
5%
Goku himself
HP.
wasn't present, so it's easier to think of it as Goku's first 5 appearances starting from his initial turn. Unfortunately, his name in-game was Super Saiyan Blue Goku, and not Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken Goku, meaning you couldn't link him with other Blue Gokus.
Oh yeah.
The reason Dokkan did this is because alongside Blue Kaioken Goku, they Dokkan awakened the old AGL Resurrection of F Goku. This was perhaps the strongest Dokkan awakening of an old unit to date. Blue Goku gained prepared for battle upon becoming a TUR. His passive increased from 80% to 100% when performing a super attack. He hit almost as hard as Dokkan Fest Blue Goku, and Dokkan was probably scared of this rotation being too powerful if they were able to be linked together.
Oh
The
come
newly
on,
played
dude.
Blue Goku also saw an
That's
awakening into a
right. They did.
TUR.
They did
He
it that
didn't
way.
change
I don't know
Vegito's still in a
why.
similar spot as before.
I don't know why they did that way,
Vegito
honestly.
Super Vegito returned on Goku's banner, but hilariously, Super Vegito was replaced by Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta on Global, and they simply pasted Vegeta's art over Vegito in the celebration info.
You see what I'm talking about there?
People were absolutely furious over this change. In the middle of August, we got a V-Jump leak that revealed the last 2 God Leads, Buhan the N-Type God Lead, and Omega Shenron the STR God Lead. For those who don't know, V-Jump is a monthly magazine in Japan that promotes video games that are released based on brands which exist or existed in Jump magazines such as Dragon Ball, Naruto, Yu-Gi-Oh!, etc.
Yep.
Like in the first several years of Dokkan, we would get the reveals for the next Dokkan Fest and themes for major celebration days in advance through V-Jump. This was one of the first times we got major information for Dokkan through V-Jump. The other time being a poll V-Jump held a few months prior for what old SSR's players wanted to see get a Dokkan Awakening, which will be relevant in a little bit. Before that, on August 18th, we got a double rates banner that came with the Dokkan Awakening of Int Turles. Turles was crazy. He was now an
Great
all
support.
times 3-key leader and
Great
gave
support.
all allies
That's what I like about
30
him.
and 20% attack from his passive. He was invaluable.
He didn't get
to
ECA, by the
all
way.
opponent
He's not
teams,
even
and
ECA'd
would
at
soon
all.
become a major asset on Int Buhan's team. A week after Turles, we got a
Dragon Ball Fusions.
banner
By the
featuring
way,
7 new
these
SSRs
units
from the Dragon
are
Ball
still
Fusions game.
on every banner as unfeatured units.
But the rest of the SSRs were
They're all
working
ECA'd
nowhere
if I
and were
remember, but
quite
they're
forgettable.
all unfeatured.
At the beginning of September, we finally
Oh,
got a
Buhan.
Dokkan Fest in Buhan.
Buhan back then,
Vegito as the second
he's
best unit in the
awesome.
game.
He's an
Buhan's super
awesome
attack
unit.
changed depending on
I
his
think I
super
did pull him
attack
initially
level.
on his banner,
From
if I
super
remember
attack level
correctly.
1 through 4, he would
Because
do
his
immense
dude,
damage. At super attack levels 5 through 9,
he healed
he
per.
would
He's
do
a
immense damage
nuker.
and lower attack and
This dude was a
defense.
nuker and a
And
healer.
finally, at super attack level 10, he had a 30% chance to greatly raise attack even more and greatly lower attack and defense. Thankfully, you could farm Buhan's super attack from the STR Buhans that dropped from the first stage of his Dokkan event.
Yep.
And speaking of which, Buhan's Dokkan event was equally as annoying as Tech Gotenks's.
Yep.
As Buhan was incredibly tanky, and you needed units with the power bestowed by God Link to deal
Yeah,
with those easily
Vegito
related phases.
Vegito Slinks.
Back to Int Buhan.
Oh my
He
god.
gained 12% attack and recovered 3000 HP per key sphere obtained. He was capable of hitting as hard as every other top tier Dokkan Fest, while also significantly healing your HP. Buhan was the best villain unit we had seen to date, and he also had a decent link
Yo, he's
set,
still pretty
which had
decent
a
till this day,
shocking speed,
actually.
which he shared with Int Ultimate Gohan and
His
Int
super
Janemba.
ECA is insane.
Fast forward to the middle of the month, we got another double race
Oh
banner that
my
featured
god.
characters that got random Dokkan awakenings here and there throughout the last few months. Remember that V-Jump poll that was held a couple months ago? The winner of that poll was Tech Super Saiyan 2 Goku, and he received a Dokkan awakening in the middle of August.
Yep.
The banner also featured Tech Future Gohan, AGL Super Saiyan 2 Goku, and Physical Super Saiyan 2 Goku, all of whom received a Dokkan awakening just a week prior due to placing in the top 7 on that poll. These units only received a Supreme Damage Super, as only the winner was given an immense damage super attack upon becoming a TUR. The next day, Dokkan dropped the second demigod lead, Tech Golden Frieza.
Fucking Tech
He
Golden
was an
Frieza.
amazing tank, reducing damage received by 70%, and was able to hit
That's
decently
huge.
hard with his 70%
So huge.
attack buff from his passive. He also greatly lowered defense on Super, which was a very valuable trait to have in this era of Dokkan. AGL Golden Frieza also Dokkan
Yep,
awakened
he's
with Tech
also
Golden
insane.
Frieza's Dokkan event, and
He was
became
also
the
insane
best
back
tank
then.
in the game, now reducing damage received by 90%.
Also, I have to
They
keep in
also
mind
released a
that
new
back
free-to-play
then.
LR
Oh,
can be
that.
pulled from the updated friend summon banner, LR17.
This unit was hard to pull in the friend point banners. I remember trying to pull for them. They took a while. They literally took a while to pull. But I want to go back in here very quickly. I want to remind you all that back then, you could not link units with the exact same name. Just like how we have it now. Back then, if you have two really good units that have the exact same name, like, was it, I guess... I don't know, let's say you have Physical Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks from 2017, and Tech Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks released in 2016. Both of them are Dokkan Fest, by the way. Back then, you could not put them on the same team, because they have the same name. Nowadays, you're just able to throw them in there, and then they'll be able to do work. They wouldn't be able to link, but they can still do work. But the fact that they Dokkan Awaken, no, they Dokkan Awaken this Frieza, but the Dokkan Fest Tech Golden Frieza was just as good as well. You could not put them both on the same team. I'm sorry. You can't put this AGL one on the Vegito's leader skill.
And he became the best tank in 18. Fun fact, this was the first unit in the game to feature two different characters in one card fighting together. 17 and 18 had a really good leader skill that raised all types ki by 4, and they shared the same strength as LR Super Saiyan Goku. High stats, max level of 150, colossal damage 12 key super, and mega colossal damage 18 key super. Unlike LR Goku, however, this unit actually had good key links such as shocking speed and fear and faith. making them a fantastic option on Vegito's team and villain-centric teams. Their grind was also held, as you
Oh,
need
yeah.
medals from every single Dokkan event available in the game, including 77 medals from the 5 most recent Dokkan events. A week later, we got the first
Dragon Ball Heroes.
which featured a
The banner up with what you call it?
AGL Baby Janemba, Int Bobbity Kid Buu,
The banner that would not come back after a while.
Gotenks was a great unit and was amazing on Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks' team.
I believe these were also discounted as well,
On Super for 3 turns
if I remember
and gained
correctly.
80% attack when Ki was 12 or more. The other 3 SSRs were decent utility units for their respective monotype teams, but weren't anything to write home about. At the end of the month, Omega Shenron finally
Omega
descended onto
Shenron.
Dokkan,
Love the
and many
dude.
people were excited.
He lowered attack
Not
and defense on
necessarily for
all
Omega
enemies, by the
himself,
way, which is
but
really
also for
insane.
the fact that Super Gogeta finally received his god leader. Omega Shenron was pretty good. He greatly lowered defense on Super and lowered all enemies' attack by 30% from his passive. He was a powerful utility unit that debuffed the enemy, allowing your units to tank better. The main downside of Omega was his link set. Mono STR mainly included units with over and a flash, and there were very few STR units that shared shocking speed with Omega. He was considered the weakest god lead at the time.
Yeah,
He was still in
but
the
he's actually
top
still pretty
class of
decent.
characters and considered one of the best units in the game. The banner unit SSRs released alongside Omega were all decent damage dealers, but the main prize was the aforementioned rare Oceanic Shenron. It appeared on Omega's banner and became a staple on
The
Mono
fact that they
AGL
released an
teams
art that
with
was
super
just as
attack
good to be
series
used
villain.
on Super
Just
Vegito's
over a month
leader
after
skill,
the release of the Dragon Ball
it's
Fighter
insane.
banner, they gave Dokkan Awakenings to 3 of the previously released SSRs. Pandel and Bullpan became slightly better.
Pandel was a
support
really
units,
good support.
and Paroli was now a decent damage dealer and a solid option on Monotech teams.
Yeah,
The last 3 units from the V-Jump poll also received Dokkan Awakenings around this time. The Baba Shop SSR Goku was now a great option on Mono AGL with his key and attack support from his passive.
yeah.
While Super Saiyan 2 Vegeta and Super Saiyan Gohan disappointingly were barely better than their SSR versions. On October 20th, the
Oh,
first Dokkan Leader was
Goku
released in the
Black.
form of Goku Black.
Oh
The Goku
shit.
Black was still currently airing at this time, and many players were ecstatic to summon
You know-
the first ever Goku Black unit in the game.
You know, I kind of wish they continued doing that. Like, when Daima was still coming out, they should have dropped more Daima stuff as new characters were revealed. I feel like if they did that instead of like waited a bit, things would have gone pretty well, but they didn't do that this time. I'm not sure why they didn't do that, why they did that before and compared to now. Well, back then, like, right, you gotta promote Dragon Ball Super somehow in Dokkan, so you gotta release all the current stuff that's happening. So Goku Black stuff, Goku Black, Rose, Vegito Blue, Trunks, Zamasu, all those characters were being released because of the Goku Black arc or the Future Saga arc. So that's the reason why this guy is here. Another thing, right? This Goku Black in particular had 2 different variations. 2. On JP, his stats and his passive were a little worse, actually, than the global variant. The global variant had extreme class support plus 3 key. Keep in mind, this was, I believe, after Trunks and Zamasu's release. What you call it? Have to look back on that. And Global's version of this guy had higher stats. You'll talk about it. Watch.
Unfortunately, he wasn't as powerful as players were hoping for. He was a watered-down version of Int Buhan, having the same super attack level
Yeah, he's a
as
nuker too.
Gohan, while also being an inferior nuker. His only real value was his above-average damage, and the player base was quite underwhelmed by physical Goku Black. Perhaps realizing this, Dokkan actually buffed physical Goku Black when he came out on Global. He had higher attack and HP stats than his JP counterpart, and he also raised Extreme Class Allies Ki
Yep.
by 3, transforming him from a mediocre release to an amazing one only on Global. Moving on to the end of the month, Dokkan was celebrating hitting 100 million global downloads. They released a special ticket banner that featured every single Dokkan Fest ever released up until STR Omega. They gave all players one ticket for every 50 stones they had ever spent from the
Oh
start
my
of the game
god.
until October 18th.
I didn't get that
Showing
many,
you
I
from the
believe.
Special ticket banner. Dokkan also released the 15th World Tournament.
Oh,
and
fuck
massively
that.
reworked the rewards and point system for World Tournament, as well as adding
They
a
gave a
local
World
ranking
Tournament
in which
LR.
players could earn a new Piccolo unit that would eventually become an LR months later. To celebrate the 35th anniversary of the Dr. Slump anime, they released a special Arale crossover banner that features
This banner's never returned. This banner's never returned, and I have a Raleigh. I have a Raleigh. I have Sour Man. This banner has never returned. I'm gonna repeat this. This banner has never returned, and it's because of licensing reasons. If I remember correctly, that's exactly the reason why they did it. It's because of licensing reasons. So if this banner ever comes back, they better ECA and Dokkan will get the fuck out of these units. But if not, they're literally stuck in limbo for the rest of whoever's eternity it belongs to. It belongs to the Curatorium, of course, but this has to never come back, and it'll probably never come back ever. But it is a nice banner to have because Raleigh's leader skill, physical Raleigh, her leader skill is actually not that bad. It's really not that bad, seriously.
7 new SSRs. Physical Arale had a good all types 3 key leader skill. AGL Arale was capable of stunning the enemy on
Stun,
and STR
AoE.
was actually a pretty good attack all unit for World Tournament. Obacha Man, Sour Man, and Mercenary Tao, however, were quite forgettable. But
Yeah.
General Blue was one of the best stunners in the game, having a 70% chance to stun on Super.
Compared to the
About a
STR
week
one,
later, Day Dokkan awakened the family Kamehameha SSRs, and they were all just slightly better than their SSR versions. with
yeah.
STR Goten being the best out of the 3. However, players at the time, as well as every Dragon Ball fan around the world, had their attention placed elsewhere. Episode 65 of Dragon Ball Super just finished airing a few days prior.
Oh
At the
yeah.
end of the episode, it showed a preview of next week's episode. Dragon Ball fans were losing their minds over the return of Vegito, now
Uh-huh.
Super Saiyan Blue transformation, and his fight in episode 66 a week later blew everyone away. However, Dokkan players had no idea that what they just witnessed would immediately be recreated in-game.
Yep. Rose and Vegito Blue.
The second ever Dual Dokkan Fest featured AGL Super Saiyan Rose Goku Black and Physical Vegito Blue, who released just a few days after episode 66 aired. They introduced a new type of leader skill into the game.
Super class
Super
and extreme class.
3 key, HP
Oh,
attack and
God.
defense by 50%. You can tell that they learned their lesson from Super Gogeta, as instead of giving one of them an all types lead, they decided to split it into super and extreme.
Which is
classes,
fine,
as well
honestly.
as
This
lower
was
the stat
just actually not that
increases,
bad.
so
You
as
get
to
a more
further
spread of
validate
different teams you
these
can
leader
build.
skills in the game. Despite this, they were still supremely good leaders, and the amount of variety they allowed in team building allowed super and extreme class teams to rival monotype teams, if not exceed them. Everybody expected Vegito Blue to break the game.
No.
He fell just shy of everyone's expectations. That
He
doesn't
counters
mean
and it does
wasn't amazing,
additionals.
though. He launched a guaranteed additional attack that had a 10% chance of becoming a super, and a 70% chance of launching another additional attack, which had a 10% chance of becoming a super.
Yep.
This meant that with good luck, Vegito Blue could launch up to 3 super attacks in a turn.
But he can also counter.
Vegito Blue also countered normal attacks with tremendous power, just like Super Vegito. He had by far the highest offensive potential out of any unit in the game, not counting nuking. However, the main thing that differentiated Vegito Blue from Super Vegito, and easily his biggest flaw, was the fact that he only reduced damage received from normal attacks by 30%.
Yeah.
Instead of 80% like Super Vegito. This
That's the
meant
one
that he was
caveat.
an unreliable tank, and you had to be way more cautious with him than Super Vegito. He was still undeniably a top 5 unit in the game, and a must summon for players. However, he often sat towards the bottom of many people's top 5s, and that's because Vegito's counterpart was widely considered to be the better of the two.
Yep.
Super Saiyan Rose Goku Black
Rose
was
gave
very
support.
simple in comparison to Vegeta.
And he
He
gained,
gained
I think he gained
100%
the,
attack
no, he
and
he gave
Extreme
support.
Class Allies 3 key. Seem familiar? When physical Goku Black was buffed on Global months after his initial release on JP, they simply gave him a part of Rose Goku Black's passive, and that single ability made him into an amazing card. Extreme class units don't have as much synergy with their links as Saiyan units, so Rose's ability to give 3 key to villains allowed units on his team to perform super attacks consistently. He was exactly what villains needed and was the perfect leader for the team, making
That's not
every
wrong.
villain that was run with him more effective. Furthermore, Rose's team had more units with versatile abilities than Vegito Blue's team,
That's true.
which made his team better in many people's eyes. They had great debuffers, healers, supports, tanks, and damage dealers, whereas super teams really only had the latter two. Vegito Blue could carry the whole team with some good luck, while
Yep.
Goku Black lifted the whole team up and made everyone else better. He
Hell
was
yeah,
considered
oh
the
my
second
god.
best unit in the game, with Super Vegito still being considered number 1.
That's
since
also
he
a
was the
fact.
closest thing in the game to a perfect unit. And his position was further solidified with the release of the hidden potential system at the end of the month.
Oh my
which allowed
god,
units to gain
there
more
we go,
stats
the
and
potential
ability to crit,
system.
dodge, and launch additional attacks. Units with percentage-based buffs in their passive saw a higher increase in their overall numbers than units with flat attack and defensive buffs. And units that countered and launched additional attacks were also massively buffed by the ability to crit and perform more attacks.
This is where you needed the
However,
four
due to the
dupes.
scarcity of potential orbs back then, it took some time for players to strengthen their units and see the full benefits of the hidden potential system.
One more thing about this. The hidden potential system was, I'd say, a bit slow. Sure, resources were scarce, but what's even worse is that every time you gave a character a node in the potential system, you can only do it one by one. You weren't able to do it in batches. So the difference between 100% a character back then versus now is a literal night and day difference. Sure, you're able to do it one by one now, but that takes way more time. That took, if you were to fully 100% a unit with max everything before you were done rainbowing them, it would probably take you like maybe an hour to rainbow one unit, which is very stupid in my opinion. But at that time, these were scarce, so I could see the reason why they did it one by one. But you have to consider, like, are these players consistently storing up all these potential system orbs? Because that's exactly what I did. I have over 200,000 of each typing, over 100, like over like 400,000 on each. No, I'm just exaggerating my numbers, but it's actually over 200,000.
Also not forget that back then, you had to activate each node one at a time, so it took 50 years just to unlock all the nodes for a unit.
You see what I'm talking about here?
Black and Vegito. At the beginning of December, we got Dokkan Cell.
Yay, Dokkan Cell. He was meh.
Second character to have two
I personally think it was meh.
exclusive cards, and he was the first unit in the game to stack defense on Super. Just like
Oh yeah, that's
Super
right.
3 Gotenks, Cell had two types of super attacks depending on how much ki he had. At 10 and 12 ki, he caused immense damage and stacked attack and defense by 20%. At 11 ki, he did supreme damage to all enemies and also stacked attack and defense by 20%. He was a viable option for World Tournament, but due to needing 11 ki to get his AoE super off, people opted to just stick with Broly or Arale.
Yeah.
He hit pretty hard
It's a
with
pretty
a
smart move right
90%
there,
attack
actually.
from his passive, and he worked
If they
really
super
well
ECA
with
this
the
guy,
Mega
I
Serum.
think he could do
The
way better on
OG
androids.
Super Saiyan 2 Gohan also received the Dokkan Awakening from Cell's medals, and he received an immense damage super attack upon becoming
Little
a
did
team
people
member,
know that
making him a
he'd get an
decent
ECA
advocate.
3 years
A
later.
few days later, Arale received a Dokkan event in which physical Arale received a Dokkan Awakening. She did immense damage with a 30% chance to greatly raise attack even more, just like Buhan. She also received 120% attack when performing a super, meaning she hit really, really hard.
And
She
like I
also
said,
had a
she's
pretty
not,
decent
she
lead,
doesn't have a bad leader skill.
increasing
She's
all
actually, it's
allies'
actually
ki
pretty
by
decent.
3
3 key, 30%
and
stats.
attack and defense by 30%. A week later, Baseball Yamcha made a unit, and he was just as godly as the previous two Yamcha units. Another week later, Dokkan entered its Christmas campaign.
Yay!
They released a special banner with 3 new SSRs, and you were guaranteed to get either Trunks or Vegeta on your first multi-summon. Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta and Super Saiyan Trunks were both very good support units that also raised all allies' attack by 20% from their super attack effect. Super Saiyan Blue Goku wasn't as impressive, but he could dish out some solid damage. The 16th World Tournament also dropped, and players were finally able to Dokkan Awaken Piccolo into a LR. He required special medals earned from playing World Tournament.
Yep.
So it took many players a few months
Was
to
it
actually get LR Piccolo.
77
And Blue had
medals?
an incredibly high
His
defensive
support did
stat,
actually.
on top
Did
of
he have
gaining
support back
10,000
then?
defense from his
Yeah, he
passive
gave
and
support.
giving all allies 5,000 defense. He instantly became one of the best tanks in the game, and many people paired him with Vegito Blue to increase his tanking capabilities.
True.
Piccolo's leader skill, despite not being very good, was the greatest single stat increase we had seen to date. HP up by 150%. We also got the first Christmas double race banner, which gave 2 Santa Roshis per multi-summon.
2 Santa Roshis plus
Basically,
Dokkan
this
Awakenings for
Christmas
Majub
gave
and GT
Majub
Goku.
and Super Saiyan GT Goku also received TURs, but they were horribly mid.
Oh yeah.
The Christmas banner was clearly a bait banner, as Dokkan had been hinting at a new major release at the end of the month. And boy did Dokkan deliver.
Yup. Future Trunks and Zamasu.
お前に俺たちの生きる思いを潰させるものか。
Dokkan Fest Merge Zamasu and Dokkan Fest Sword of Hope Trunks were released on the same banner, and physical Vegito Blue also made a fast return.
Wow.
Trunks and Zamasu were sort of the demigod versions of Vegito and
If I were to choose them over between these guys as leader skills versus Vegito Blue and Rose's leader skills, I would prefer these guys. Now, I get it. Key is very important, but I want a balance of both. So having at least key and stats like this is actually not too bad. On top of that, these were actually used. But if I were to go with which one I want, it would be Zamasu's, because look how the extreme class has grown since Rose's release. Him giving support and then having Zamasu as your leader skill, dude, giving 4 key on rotation for everyone like that's insane. It's insane. You have no idea.
Rose's God leader skill. They gave 70%
Well, you could do it the other way
attack
around too.
and defense to super class and extreme class respectively, but only 1 key. As a result, many people would mix and match this
Like
leader
that.
skill with Rose and Vegito's leader skill to get slightly higher stat increases in exchange for 2 less key. Int Trunks was a self-sufficient nuker, gaining 15% attack per int key sphere obtained, but also created his own int orbs. Merge Zamasu was a really hard hitter, gaining 120% attack at the start of turn. He also debuffed superclass allies' attack by 10%, but since he was mainly ran on villain teams, that wasn't really an issue.
Yeah.
Both units also had farmable super attacks, making them fantastic options for anyone who pulled them. At the same time, they dropped the second ever Prime Battle event.
Oh,
which
fuck.
dropped the
I
first
forgot about this
fundraiser
guy.
that could be Dokkan
By the way,
Awakenings
this guy has
and
not gotten a Super ECA yet, and yet we got Super ECA Bobbity.
And he gained 13,000 attack and 5,000 defense at the start of turn.
God.
Even harder than LR Goku, and he was the hardest hitting unit in the game outside of Super Vegeta.
And you can put him under
Vegito
friggin'
Blue
Zamasu
on
or
a turn
Goku
when they
Black
got
Seer
multiple
skills.
counters. For
That's
users,
insane.
They released an amazing banner
Oh,
that featured
fuck.
many of the best units in the
I
game,
pulled on this
including
banner
Rose, Goku Black,
and
Super
not get shit out of this banner.
Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks, and Blue Kaioken Goku. The final Dokkan Fest of this meta released on January 13th, featuring
Yup,
the last
Int
demigod leader,
Blue
Int Super
Vegeta.
Saiyan Blue Vegeta. He was a
Little
pretty
did people know
straightforward
that his
build
Super
unit,
ECA
just
became
attack
so
for 3
insane.
turns on Super.
Yeah, I'm
He
being
also
serious.
had
His
the added
Super
ability
ECA is
to
actually pretty
debuff
good.
extreme class enemies attack and defense by 20%, making him a really good unit against extreme class bosses. These 3 Super Saiyan Blue Vegetas also received Dokkan Awakenings, with STR Blue Vegeta and AGL Blue Vegeta being good options for their respective monotype teams.
Yeah.
It had been over a year now since the start of the nuking meta, and over 6 months of us being in the God League meta. So physical Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta wasn't really relevant anymore even after becoming a TUR. Lastly, Dokkan released another double race banner on January 20th.
Oh my god, how many
which
double
came
race
with the
banners did they
Dokkan
release? Like
Awakening
5
for
or
AGL
6?
Kaioken Goku.
That's crazy.
Like many Dokkan Awakenings for old SSRs, he was alright, and nothing too noteworthy. Around this time, we also got V-Jump leaks and a live stream that teased a new mode called Virtual Dokkan Battlefield for the upcoming 2nd anniversary.
Oh yeah,
as
I
well as
remember
a new
this.
LR Ginyu Force card. They also announced a new difficult event known as Boss Rush, and a red dragon stone that would allow players to recruit one of the 5 30 key attack up by 3,000 type leads for free.
Who did I choose? I think I chose Goku back then.
Celebration yet, and we were about to enter a new era in Dokkan, where damage
No,
was
we're about to
severe.
enter a world of hell.
Defense
I'll
had
tell
to
you this
start
for
to
sure.
matter a bit more during the God Lead meta, but the 2nd anniversary units were about to take the game by storm and introduce a new level of power creep into the game.
No, we were about to enter the world of hell through 2017. That was a fucking disaster, but this, bro, you did a pretty good job with this video. I'll say that for sure. Probably one of the things I remember going through, probably wasn't the 1st anniversary when it came out on JP, but on global, it was a night and day difference. Reduced SSRs, I never even knew the rates were decreased, so I didn't really care. Dokkan Fast Frieza is probably more annoying. Gohan was meh. These guys were funny as hell, especially with this. He literally flipped the fuck out of people. Giants. I did not give 2 shits about Giants. Literally, I did not give 2 shits. Vegeta, I can just skip him. He's a really good tank. Beerus was annoying because of his rage mechanic in the event, not in the Dokkan event, not the unit itself. Well, technically, he does have his rage mechanic is very similar to a giant mechanic, which is, in my opinion, this rage mechanic is better than the giant transformation, but I believe it lasts the same amount of time. Vegito, fucking insane. I re-rolled, I believe if I remember correctly, I tried to re-roll for him, but I was like, nah, I'm sticking with my account. So that's the reason why I actually got Gogeta when Vegito came out at that time. So I never really had that chance of actually knowing what it's like to use Vegito. Goku, fucking hated this thing, man. I hated the event. I did not want to grind for him till like maybe a year and a half later. So I had to dedicate through that. Let's see. What else do we have right here? In Buhan, I think I did pull him when he initially came out, either on Global or GP. I remember pulling him initially in a single. These guys were annoying to farm. Goku Black. I don't really remember much about him, but I do remember the Dr. Slump collab. I did pull for a Raleigh at that time, so I was easily happy with that. Hidden Potential System, one of the best / worst mechanics back then until now. LR Piccolo, seamlessly is best LR God for support. And then we're up to, the 2nd anniversary, which 2017 literally changed the game for the most part. You will probably see that whenever he releases it. It's insane. But, whew. Well, that's it. I'd say Shikra, you did a pretty good job with this. I know 2017 Dokkan was a bit of a different history, because if I remember correctly, 2017 had a lot more bugs than 2016. That year was the year of disaster, in my opinion, because a lot of great things and a lot of worse things. You'll see what I'm talking about. There's a lot of bugs that came in 2017 for both global and GP, especially for JP. JP got through hell with this. No, you'll see more of it. Anyways, let me know how you guys feel about 2016 Dokkan. I feel like 2016 Dokkan was a lot more hype than 2015, and it was just because of Dragon Ball Super being in there. So we'll see. We'll see what it looks like with 2017 Dokkan. You know, take me back to these days, man. This was 10 years ago. I feel like fucking bro, people are gonna call me Unk with this shit, with this fucking video. I'm like, oh my god. Oh well. Anyways, uh, Shikra, you did a really good job with this. Keep it up. For everyone else, let me know how you guys feel about 2016 Dokkan, and I'll see you all in the next one.